What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up? How you doing? It's pretty cool, right? It's a great way to start the show. We should do that every time. We should do it every time. That's how we're gonna do it. We're just gonna start to sing. I'm just gonna go real high in the voice, just as high as it can go. Talking nonsense. That's what I'm doing right now. Talking nonsense. Sup, everybody? So here we are, making Final Fantasy IX as best as we can, cause everything is late. Need to figure out where I left off. Yesterday was Thursday. Thursday is get caught up on other shit day. It's not a candy bar. It's a low carb bar. What was I doing yesterday? Getting ready for Comic Con. Amazing Vegas Con, sorry. Getting ready for Amazing Vegas Con. Tons of fucking nonsense to do. But this is where we left off last time with old piece here. Oh, son of a bitch. Okay, look at that. That's great. I just love it when it zooms in repeatedly over and over. Alrighty. Let's see. To attempt to limit some of this. And we're going to get rid of some of these colors so I can pare this down. I'm not going to need that. Not going to need that. I need that. Definitely not going to need that. Stop by GameStop. Your issue isn't in stores yet. Also failed at the... Yeah, well, that's how it works, Colin. Make stuff no one can ever buy it. If you can chat, hit me up on Skype, too. If not, no stress. This should be enough. Boom, 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 boom. All right. What up? What up, senor? God damn it. Gets old.
Hello.
No, it's the keyboard. So like when I hit the fucking space bar, it's just it's a natural keyboard command I use when I'm using Photoshop for the hand tool. And
Mm,
sometimes it's not really selecting Photoshop, it's selecting Skype, which hangs up a phone call. So I keep reminding myself to go into Skype and like solve that problem, and I keep not doing that.
then you call back and I clicked the wrong button.
It
Click the hang
happens.
up button.
It happens. We're doing it live. So, yeah, who knows, man? You know, that's what I do. I make stuff, people can't buy it. That's how it works out. You know?
Well, I think they send out the Game Informer to all the subscribers first before they turn over the in-store stock. So I
Oh,
think
I don't know about that because I know some GameStop employees have got it because they were like, "We're at the store. This looks amazing." So who knows? Who knows, Kyle, how it works? You know?
eh. Is it a special one or is it
No, it's the issue.
something? Is it June's?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, my GameStop had May, like a pile of the May ones still, but
they'll
nothing
get
for
them at
June.
some point. You know, I think they do
Yeah.
it every other month. I don't know if they do it quite monthly sometimes. It's hit or miss how it
Uh-huh.
works out. You know, that's probably why they start shipping them in May. So eventually they'll work their way around, right? By
Like
June. Mhm.
most magazines, if you've noticed, they're always like a month or two
We were 3 months,
ahead.
3 months of
Yeah,
play. Yeah, 3 months ahead.
it's it's like you go to the store and it's like the August one's out. I'm like, it's only May.
Yeah.
Like what? I think it's all about we have to be first. Like everyone else is putting out their Junes. Well, we have the July issue out already. Like
You know,
I
man, how many times I had
I
these
don't care.
conversations with Dave? You know, so
Mm,
I couldn't tell you how it works out. The
yeah,
Yokoi watch is something else entirely because it was supposed to be the number one. Then I guess whenever they finally settled on a crew that could get approvals and everything else, then I became the variant cover, which makes sense because the cover they have covers the actual story that's involved. Like none of the kids, none of the, of course, none of the kids, are like in the book. It's almost like a it takes place. I don't know. It's closer to an anthology story than anything else. So,
mm.
which is cool. Which is good. It's
What's
out.
weird is when my comic shop guy was looking it up online to order it for me, he pulled it up and he's like, "Is this one you want?" I'm like, "Nah, I want the sub cover." And he's like, "No, this one's listed as the sub cover, which was the original cover for his." So even like I guess IDW has their listings kind of screwed up for ordering. Like even they don't know what's supposed to be the main
Bro, it's
cover
Diamond, dude. You know what I mean?
or
Like, it
Diamond.
really
Okay.
it has to do with Diamond. And it's a tale as old as time.
Yeah. So
So,
hopefully they got me the correct one ordered.
well, we'll see. Who knows? On the upside, I have some posters for the Game Informer coming. I'm gonna have maybe 20 of them tops.
Nice.
So 20 by 30s.
Oh wow, that's giant.
Yeah. So I can only ship them within the U.S. I did the math on the shipping. I'm like, not shipping them overseas. Hmm.
Yeah, I mean it's not like you'll have a problem selling off 20 anyway.
I don't know. I'll probably sell fucking one. You know. So
Take him to your Vegas con. And
I'm not taking 20 by 30 flatbed fucking prints to Vegas.
just roll them all up in a tube.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Nah, all right.
No, they have to
Just
be
throw
shipped flat. No, it's tube posters, man. I've received two posters through Kickstarters. It's not good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I got the limited Banner Saga ones. They just, you know, so they're printed on super fucking art gallery paper and shit,
Uh,
and they're gonna
okay.
be fucking. These aren't cheapos. Like when I do the world map for Game Cave, it's gonna be a fold out. Cheapo. It's still gonna run me like $800 or something just to make enough of them.
Mhm.
There's minimums with those. But I mean, super like when I say minimums, I mean like 500. So
Yeah.
that's why I was like, I can't make the fucking fold out the cover art. I need to make it something that's a little bit more evergreen. So it can last me a few issues.
Mhm.
But so yeah, they'll
So does
probably end up being like $40 or something. But
does Game Informer, do they normally make posters of cover art, or is that
no,
just like?
no, no.
Eh.
So they've not signed any deal with me, so I don't really. Kyle.
Yeah. They'll turn into like T-shirts and coffee mugs, and they're like, yeah, thanks for all the hard work, Rob. We're gonna license the crap out of this and make so much money. Ha ha ha.
Work for hire. Work for hire.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'll have a few up in the store. For
Cool.
for those people that care. But I got one coming. My proof should arrive sometime next week. I'll have regular prints too. It fits on 11 by 17, but
Mhm.
I'll have those up. So someone wants to get one, they can get one, and that'll be fucking that. But I got all the other com materials done yesterday. Buying 3 new banners. That's $500.
Yeah. Geez.
Yeah. I held out on booth materials for the longest time until I was like ready to be like, this is kind of how I want to represent myself.
Mhm.
Um, but that being said, it's like I just don't want the fucking wall of prints, man, as a booth. You know, I don't.
That's right.
I don't want it. I don't care how effective it is. I don't give a shit. You know.
Is it because you took my suggestion and are gonna do the cave of prints?
Yes, the cave of prints. We're gonna make a little cave booth.
You're like, most people have one wall of prints. I got three, completely enclosed.
I know. We'll enclose all sides and we'll angle it too, so I can't even see out.
Yeah.
But I do have some cool. Check this out. I got some stand-ups for the table. So we got about two made out of plastic, so they'll keep uh, die. They're not die cut. They're sort of die cut, so they won't be square. But I got the prime cover and Bombcat. So
Nice.
nice 2 foot tall Optimus Prime cover will be on the table. And I got permission before I fucking yeah, because I don't ever want to go through that fucking nightmare ever again.
Yeah. You're like, and I don't want to make the IDW people mad since.
Yeah, I don't need the trouble, man. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, despite what people may think, I don't really want to sabotage my own career. You know,
Yeah.
I like having business relationships.
Yeah. And with IDW, they keep coming back to give you more work, so it's not like
Yes
even a
and no.
one-off thing.
I had to actually hit them up this time. But it's this work here that got me the Transformer stuff.
Hmm.
So I always got to have 1 foot in the kick-ass pool, 1 foot in the cute plushy pool. Like Final
Hmm.
Fantasy 9 sort of rides the wave, but like the Dark Siders piece will be more of the aggressive Rob, right?
Hmm.
And then the like the X-Men stuff, you know. I think the Batman piece helped too when they saw that, you know. Just I guess Rob can. Oh, that's right. He doesn't just draw kitty shit. Like, no, I don't just draw kitty stuff.
Oh, the one with the big gun
Yeah,
that you did.
I didn't know how to color it other than with Copics, but they saw the Final Fantasy VII. Like, oh, you can. I'm like, yeah, I got it figured out now. Haha. It's always by the nick of time. Like, I guess I just figured that shit out. So, I've been watching Fargo season 3, and I like it. I don't know what you got an issue with. It's a smaller story than the first one, than the second season, sorry, but I'm fine with that. So I don't really.
It's not that I dislike it. I don't find myself. It's not where as soon as it's out, I gotta watch it.
That's how I
Just
feel.
like
You know what
just
is I
like
find I find really interesting about this, and this is why I talked to you about it. It wasn't just to say you're fucking wrong, Kyle. Um, is it? And I this is before. So I noticed this around the middle half of the first episode, and before I mentioned it, I wanted to kind of give it a chance. I got through the third episode with the animated sequence.
which
So
is like my favorite part so far.
right, but here's the thing. I'm like, so they're shooting it. So it takes place now, right? Or 2010, right?
Hmm.
Now enough. Um, but like I was looking at the cinema, the way they shot the first, it's shot like a 50s style show. Like you know
Yeah,
that bloom light they used to use, like in the Twilight Zone, but in color. Like it's a strange. I noticed it like when I first really noticed it when they were in the old guy's house, you
hmm,
know, and I'm like, they're like frosting the lens or something. Then that like that Marilyn Monroe halo, whatever they used to do, you know, like, but it's not a it's not a it's weird. And then I started then when they started getting all the 50s style like sci-fi shit, you know, I'm like, that's awfully clever, bro. Like, you
hmm.
know, I'm always interested to see how much. Look, like the song that plays in the first episode, that song was like classic Art Bell opening of Coast to Coast. He'd open up half the shows with that song.
Hmm.
You know, so I was like, what's with all the UFO shit? Like, when did that start? Like, it's not in the first season, right?
Nah,
It's in the second season, and
unless
now it's like
unless you
they're
miss something.
yeah, right. I gotta go back and see. Was there UFO shit the first season? Like, is that are the FBI guys that are jailed? Are those like are they like is the Key and Peele characters like X Files dudes in a way? You know, like buried. Is that the UFO reference? Remember how like they were buried in the fucking basement working on shit? Like maybe they're the Mulder and Scully role, you know? But
What's up, Jaws? Draws?
it's Josh.
It's Josh.
Yeah, he changed
All
his
right,
name. Get a Jaws, Josh, Jaws, Jaws, Jaws.
but so the animated sequence felt very Don Hertzfeld to me.
Yeah, I get that.
I liked it, and then I had to go and check the voice actor because I'm like, is that Gurr from
Definitely sound like it, right?
Paper Sam? Yeah,
Yeah. I can help.
yeah.
I like tacos. Taco, 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 taco. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah, so I think I've only seen the first 3 episodes. I have the other two sitting here to watch. Howdy, Jamal.
I like the creepy British guy. It's more. It's got a lot more in tone with the first film, with the smallness of it. You know. I think there's a
Hmm.
Stan Grossman reference in the first episode, right? They do mention check with Stan Grossman. Stan says it's good. And I like how like out of water that chick is. She's literally not doesn't belong. She belongs in the 50s. She doesn't belong in that era.
Yeah.
You know, like she's talking to LAPD like they're gonna. You know what I mean? Like, you realize what you're up against here? Like, my favorite is when she's stuck in traffic in LA and she's looking for what's holding traffic up. Like you got, she's like, what's going on here? Like, no, lady. Like,
That's just like the only thing holding up traffic is traffic.
yeah, yeah. It's just the way it is. And anytime they shoot in LA, I always have to like. I like to gauge. Okay, what part of LA do I know from Grand Theft Auto 5, and what part do I know from actually being in LA? You know, because Grand Theft Auto 5 is a really good rebuild of that city. It's even better than the city in a way. But.
This is Final Fantasy, right? You're working on
Yeah, Final Fantasy 9.
9. Okay.
With this one, I'm pushing more of the dramatic light sources, which I haven't done yet with this method.
Hmm.
So I'm trying. I want to increase, key lights and blowing out some of these like these lenses and stuff, but I don't want to ruin. I don't want to oversaturate the piece. Like it's or lose the solidness of it. Sometimes when you do that, it can look dodge and burny. It can look a little hollow. Little like you're relying on the glows to get you by.
Hmm. And this is a double print, right?
Yeah. The only double prints left after this are the X-Men. The X-Men stuff.
That's you're doing a Age of Apocalypse one, right?
Regular X-Men 92 and then an Age of Apocalypse. So you could say 94.
Yeah.
91, 92, 94, 95, right?
Yeah. Which was kind of as like the era I was reading the comics,
Right. Right there with you.
like early to mid 90s.
I'll probably end up drawing it digitally because there's 35 characters,
Hmm.
you know. I need to make certain I don't lose my
Skill set.
yeah, the easier way of doing it that I developed on the Game Informer cover.
Hmm.
So the one where I was on the phone with you like, I'm gonna be up late tonight figuring this fucking thing. See you on the side, Kyle. But then the Dark Siders piece they'll be drawn traditionally and colored digitally. And then I'll probably do the same with the Power Rangers and the Final Fantasy VI will be drawn traditionally. Then maybe the Dragon Ball Z will be digital. And then I'm done. But the Darksiders, I mean, that's 5 prints, but it's one character each. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think people
Yeah.
really. I mean, you guys do, the ones hanging out here, but like the average fans don't think they understand how much time even four characters can add to a piece. You know, like how much more. It's like, well, it only takes you 1 hour to color. They don't get colored evenly. They're not evenly detailed. Like it doesn't quite work like that. You know, I can color a plushie in like maybe 15 minutes, but to draw those plushies can take 3 times as long as drawing one face. You know, like because there's beyond there being more of them, there's just they all have character details. It's assuming I get it right the first time I draw it. Like, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Sometimes it isn't. You know, sometimes you're like, that didn't look like the character at all, and I could just roll with it and be like, well, it's got to get done, or I can, which is not a good idea, um, or just erase it and start over. Sometimes there's a lot of erasing and starting over.
Yeah, and I don't think people realize like they're like, oh, so 3 characters should take you 3 times as long as one character to just because you're just doing it 3 times. Like, well, no, because then the blocking just becomes so much more complex. The more you add, it just becomes a giant time suck on the blocking side, even.
Yeah, it's like
Just
trying to light a giant set versus lighting a green screen. You know, like with the
yeah,
green screen, all you need to do is have so much light you got no shadows, which sounds easy, but it isn't. You know what I mean? But you have this giant set that can all be in shadow, and you got two key light sources, and you'd be like, "Well, it's twice as big. It should be eaten." Well, no, I mean, you know, it's like you know what it's like to light a green screen. How many people can actually do that? You know, like how much light you need. You know, like that shit's the fact that it even works now that they can light that and no one can tell. You know,
yeah,
is pretty fucking impressive considering. You know, but you used to be able to build a giant castle set, but because half of it would need to be in shadow, you know what I mean? Okay, that's a day, maybe. That's whatever. But then you get this green screen set that's like just a room. You're like, oh, no big deal, right? Oh, no, no, no. No, that's going to be a fucking nightmare.
yeah. It's like not only do you have to light the green screen, but you have to light it in a way that all that green light doesn't spill onto other stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like I got to get it bright, but not to where all that green light's reflecting onto everything else.
And so one of the challenges I have here is like I'm working on, like I said, working on bounce lights. Like, okay, this is sort of bouncing off this and adding some blue in her hair, but I'm not trying to overdo it, you know? And you try to create it in the darker shadows and you want to halo it so it's not jutting up against the lines perfectly.
Yeah, and a guy yesterday hit me up about doing some lighting. He's like trying to figure out like how much it's gonna cost. He's like, how much would it cost me to light like a room with a green screen, and that green screen is replaced with like outer space, like looking at a galaxy. It's one set. Another set, I don't remember what the other one was. He's like, and then the third set's a hospital set. I'm like, well, that's really like, are we
Different.
talking like just
With the
listing
same
those three
lights?
things doesn't? I
With
to a certain extent, but it's like, well, I mean, is your hospital set like, is it pre-lit with like ambient light? So all I'm doing is lighting actors, or am I coming into a completely dark set? Like, like two of the three I was able to answer just for him, but I'm just like, yeah, that's so vague. It's kind of, I mean, you might as well just be like, hey, how many lights do I need to light a room?
right.
Are we talking like a bedroom or like a
Your
ballroom?
or how about this? We're talking like
Are there
your real room or
windows?
the theoretical. Do you even have the room paid for yet, or are you just saying in
Yeah,
general?
yeah.
'Cause
Like,
I tend to think
is
they're
it?
thinking in general. You know?
Are there windows? Is it daytime? Is it nighttime? What like kind of look and vibe are you going for? Like that all changes like dramatically. And I've made the mistake in the past of when people ask me about like lighting setups before they hire me. like telling them like, well, I'd get this light, and this stuff, and then I think they just
Go
take what I
do it.
tell them and order all that stuff.
Yeah, you
So
gave
now
them
I'm
the
like,
recipe and then they just went and bought it or rented it.
yeah, and
Yeah,
so
not a
now
good
I'm
idea,
just
Kyle.
like, yeah, now I'm just like, well, here's kind of the price you're looking at. Once you actually hire me, then I'll tell you what we need, but I'm not going to do your work for you for free.
Yeah, Kyle Wright,
Got
free consulting.
yeah, gotten burned too many times.
So people are like, hey, I had a guy I worked with, coincidentally from Hollywood, right? And producers, they never want to spend their money. So he
Yeah,
was looking at what I was doing for some stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, man, you got to really like show me how that digital inking works. You know what I mean? Like, just walk me through it." I'm like, "You can fucking pay me." You know what I mean? Like, straight up, bro. Like, you can't go around making movies and producing shit, and they expect me to just sit down and take the last 10 years of my efforts and just be like, "Here's how you fucking do all this. Here's a pencil." Like, you even gonna know how to use it? What if I show you and you still can't do it? Like, what does it matter? But I was like, I ain't showing you shit until there's money. You can watch the fucking podcast for all I care,
yeah. It reminds me. I've got a Facebook friend that he's like a artist that does stuff for Disney and whatever. Someone asked him about painting a mural. He's like, yeah, you're looking at like probably like 6 to 8 grand. They're like, well, we got this girl that says she can do it for like 500. He's like, fine, hire her. And like a couple months later, they come back and they're like, hey, so we hired this girl and we need it repainted. And he posted a picture of what she had done. It's like, yep, that's what $500 of mural work gets you.
Yeah, yeah.
So now they're out the 500 plus they have to pay him to redo it.
He's got to erase whatever's on there.
Yeah, yeah, he upped his price too. He's like,
Right. Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be like 11 grand to do that now.
I've been there.
Yeah, people don't want to pay money.
Like, I give clients the benefit the first time out, and any point afterward is the repercussion fee.
Hmm.
You know. And if I price myself out, well, I wasn't taking the work anyway. You
Yeah,
charge too little, you can't trust it. You know. Like, really? You do all that for nothing? You know.
yeah, I learned that lesson as well.
But you have to be able to produce. That's the difference. A lot of people just go, I'm just going to charge, and they can't actually produce anything. So they're like, oh, I should get paid the big bucks. I'm like, but can you do this without one change, without getting one change? Can you do this without any supervision? A lot of people can't. They haven't been through enough wars or done enough stuff. You know what I mean? To know how to do that. They're just like, well, it says I should get paid this much, and because that's how much it is. Well, that's not how much. Yeah, well, you know, you shouldn't have took the job in the first place because you're not qualified. That's like the thing I had to like kind of get through Brandon's head. I'm like, hey, when because he was like, oh, you said I can't be an artist. I'm like, I said you can't be a full time artist, Brandon. How many people can? I wouldn't even say I'm a full. I mean, I am, but not real. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not cranking out books monthly for Marvel and shit. Like, it's not quite the same thing. That being said, can you do one freelance and not get as one change? Not get a single change? Can you do one project for a major publisher and get zero changes when you turn it in? Until you hit that point, you got to be careful how much you do charge because you may not be qualified,
Hmm.
and that's a hard thing to to teach people, or to tell people. They younger artists they don't understand the difference because they see themselves. They think like their effort equates the result. Does that make sense? Like, because they put a lot of effort in, that equals,
Like
getting paid.
must
I'm
be
like,
good because I worked hard.
yeah, well, no shit, but it's still not good enough.
Yeah.
They're like, well, when am I going to be good enough? Exactly. When you can turn this stuff into, when you get that crazy opportunity and you're able to turn it in on time and no changes, that's when you're good enough. In between then and now is a lot of failure and little wins. That is a hard lesson to teach and learn. And it's not very sexy is not the word. It's not very enticing to the beginning artist, you know? So what they'll do is they'll run up. Sometimes you'll run up and you'll be like, well, look at this artist over here. They don't have to do all this. They can do whatever they want. I'm like, so you're not them. That's their reality. What's your reality right now? What's due in front of you? You know? Then go get their work. Chance, something tells me they're quite happy with what they're doing. They don't need you. I mean, it's so tough, bro. Like, there's no, like, your experience as a cinematographer isn't Roger Deakins' experience as a cinematographer. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying the level of talent. I'm just saying the opportunities available, what the right thing came along or the wrong thing. Maybe he's fucked up. You each got different stories, you know?
Hmm.
And it's like so hard when people go, how to make it in the industry. I'm like, persevere. You know, you better start thinking about geology, time and pressure, Shawshank Redemption style shit, because for some people it's quick and for everyone else it's a fucking long ass struggle. You know? Long ass struggle. And then when you get a little win, you know, you get very proud. You're like, yeah, I did it. 3 days later, bills still due. You know, new bills, not the ones I just paid off. The new ones. Fuck. You
Yeah, you
know,
gotta do it again.
got to do it again and again and again, and you got to be real in love with that process.
Yeah, I'm definitely not currently doing it for the riches.
Yeah. Well, you know, man, the one thing I can tell you is my father. You know, watching him in the ICU ward, not doing very well. You know, there's a lot of things he wanted to do with his life. I'm pretty certain at that point, you know, working his ass off in a job that, you know, we all have our bills to pay. I get it. But my father also wasted a lot of time pursuing things. We talked about it a lot of time, just pursuing things that he thought, you know, he just couldn't believe that I could sit here and make anything drawing. And I'm like, how many things he could have done, you know, on top of his normal job, beyond just sitting around on fucking Yahoo Messenger all day with girls. My dad loved to do that. You know, he was always a player. Right till the very end. Believe me, his phone was littered with, oh, look what he was up to, literally that day. You know? But, and at least you're afforded the opportunity, you know? If you live in fucking Aleppo, you got no shot at doing anything remotely creative. So,
Hmm.
it's good to keep it all in check. That being said, I love it when a company wastes money going with the wrong person. You know? I love it. Like they had the opportunity to do the right thing and they're like, we're going to be cheap. And they rolled the dice and failed.
Yeah.
I love it.
Uh,
Like I know like Collider likes to talk about we don't want any movie to fail. I do. You know, they can withstand it. Universal can take a Transformers write down and learn their lesson. You know? It's not gonna end
mhm.
the studio. It's not like when the movie fails, no one gets paid. The studio doesn't, but the people on the movie got paid. Michael Bay got his fucking cut, you know? But man, I mean, it's tough though. I gotta be careful about bitching about Transformers now, right? It's buried in a podcast somewhere. They'll never find it. Front page of fucking Bleeding Cool. IDW artist says movie should fail. Ha ha ha. Fuck the studio. Like, you know. Oh no. No! You know. Why did I say that? If only I could take it back. We're really disappointed in you. Why did you do that?
For some reason, the movie studio's like, Kyle, we're gonna pluck you out of obscurity to direct the next Transformers movie. We heard you making fun of us.
We were gonna let. What if they held my friends as ransom? We were gonna let Kyle do the cinematography, but since Rob had to open his fucking mouth, his friend gets it. No, that would be great, right?
Yeah.
I mean, great for me in that instance, not so much for Kyle. But
It'd be great for me too. One more karmic point.
how do you feel about Xenu now, motherfucker? What? I didn't even make fun. What? I wasn't even making fun of Tom Cruise, just in case, you know.
I went to Guardians of the Galaxy 2 again and IMAX this time. But they had a trailer for the new Transformers movie. I guess I hadn't watched the trailer before. I didn't realize that it's like part Arthurian, like period film.
Did you
Part
hear about this? How this happened?
no,
No? Want to hear?
yeah,
So, just give me your impressions when you saw it. Did it feel like a single movie you were watching?
no. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah. Well, that's because it was two different scripts. And they decided, like Spielberg said, I got two ideas. One is a Transformers movie that takes place during the King Arthur, and another one's during World War II. That flashes forward to the future. And Michael Bay was like, two movies? Ha, we'll make them into one. Literally. His words, bro, not mine. Spielberg was like, what?
All right, well, that
So,
makes sense because the trailer felt like two different movies.
yeah. That's because it was, Kyle. I like the little girl. I'm going to stand here and fight. And then I would like if a foot just stomped on her. And be like, you can't do anything, kid. The army could barely do anything in the first movie. What the fuck are you going to do? This isn't E.T. You know, like, you will die, dumbass. Just sit there. What the fuck is she going to do? That all the fucking G.I. Joe dudes in the first. Look at what they did to San Francisco. They couldn't. They had Terry Tate. He couldn't do anything. Hey, guys, we're talking about the new Transformers trailer. I love that shit. They're like, well, it's it's empowerment. It's, like, it's stupid. Like, the Goonies could take on the Fratellis. They can't take on the Decepticons. Kyle. I think they're missing the fucking point. Like,
Yeah, I like the first Transformers, and yeah, like the new designs are cool, but
they could make them more
I
boxy, bro. Like, do you see that Voltron toy I posted the other day? Some guys made. They could do
mhm.
something like that. You know what I mean? Where it's just a little bit more solid, but it's colorful. This thing where they all look like ribbed fucking generic Nintendo 64 controllers. Like they all look like Mad Catz Transformers. They all look like some generic fucking weird shit. It's just getting old. I like the first movie. I have a fan edit of the movie that's even better. Like they trim it down 30 seconds. I mean 30 seconds. It's even better. That's funny.
Now
Freudian
it's
slip
30
maybe.
seconds less footage.
Yeah, and it's totally better. They trim out about 30 minutes. Just some of the unnecessary jokes, like when Turturro's like she's hot, like things like that. You don't need to get pervy like that, bro. And they
Or if
actually
you're Michael
add
Bay.
like the 80s like lion, Transformers opening credits. The credits are a little not well produced, but it works. But it's a far better movie. And I like the opening sequence and the last shot from Transformers 2. Like the opening sequence where it's got that cool like Linkin Park shit going on. It's tied into the music, and then like he drops ships from the air and he transforms and they fight that. That was a really cool action sequence. And that last scene where he's on the aircraft carrier, because when I was a kid, remember the GI Joe aircraft carrier, Cal, at Toys R Us? Did you ever see that one?
Probably.
So
I
back
don't
in the
remember it, but
80s, the
I'm
biggest
sure I
toy
saw
ever
it.
made was the GI Joe aircraft carrier. You went to Toys R Us and it was hanging in the middle of the aisle, and it could fit all your regular GI Joe shit. It was that big. The F-14s, the helicopters, it could fit all of them. And so, like Optimus Prime on the aircraft carrier, I was like, that's fucking. I was like, I thought the guys from the first movie would end up becoming GI Joe. Like the Josh Duhamel character, he looks like Duke. You know what I mean? I'm like, these guys could all become GI Joe. Like you could mix them together this way, and develop the whole cross trans. No, they're not doing any of that shit. You know, and that's it. I don't know
All
why
right.
Spock has a bunch of. I don't know why Leonard. They brought Leonard Nimoy in the third film, even though he was Galvatron, and had him do a bunch of Spock quotes. That was weird.
I've tried to forget the third movie, so I don't remember much from it.
Now it's little kids versus bots. Yeah, that's gonna really go over well. You know, that little kid couldn't fight off a 300-pound pedophile. I mean, for real, dude. Like, I just don't get where they're going with it. Well, like in the 80s, kids could defeat everything. They weren't. They were defeating the Fratellis, and barely. They were mostly just running away from them. They weren't defeating alien. Did the kids defeat the FBI agents and ET? No, they just ran away. Like, they weren't defeating anything.
Yeah, they didn't like infiltrate the FBI and take over like the entire FBI headquarters.
That's called Spy Kids, and it's incredibly stupid. You know, Spy Kids is incredibly dumb, as it's supposed to be. How do I think about Anthony Hopkins and Transformers? What does it matter? Anthony Hopkins has been in shitty films before. He was in that Hannibal Lecter sequel. Remember that one?
Was it Red Dragon?
Hannibal.
Oh,
See, you don't remember it. Right. You forget about that one.
no, I just think of Terrible and Silence of the Lambs. I automatically go to the guy who brought us the worst of the X-Men movies. That was the same dude, right?
Silence of the
Fuck it.
Lambs was not Brett Ratner. Brett Ratner did Red Dragon. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like he brought us like the worst of both series.
I like it when that cart was running down the hill. Like the guy in the cart thing that was on fire. I laughed. I'm like, this is not supposed to be a funny moment, but the way it was shot was entirely humorous. I'm like, this director doesn't know what the fuck he's. Brett Ratner's a great producer. His Rat Pack, they fund all sorts of shit, like the Batman films and stuff like that, you know? But as a director, he fucked up Tower Heist. How do you fuck up a heist movie with Eddie Murphy? You know what I'm saying? Like, should have been fucking hilarious. So Anthony Hopkins can get, he'll get paid. He's showing up to get paid. I just don't care anymore, you know? I'm interested in that fucking the Bumblebee one because the Kubo guy's directing it. But who knows how involved the studio is, you know?
Wait, what Bumblebee thing is this?
They're making a Bumblebee spin-off film and it's being directed by the guy from Kubo, the guy that owns Leica.
Oh,
Yeah. I know, right? A Bayless Transformers movie? What would that be like? Now we're all wondering, will it still have all these weird
might
jokes?
be good.
Well, we don't know. Bay didn't really direct Turtles, but may as well have, right?
Yeah. I want to see Werner Herzog direct a Transformers movie.
Let's just give Richard Linklater and let's get what's the guy that did the fucking Terrence Malick? We'll get Terrence Malick's Transformers. 6 hours from the dawn of time. Look, if I could get anybody as a goof to direct a Transformers or anything or write a Transformers or anything, I'd get Charlie Kaufman. Who directed Eternal Sunshine from A Spotless Mind?
Michelle Gondry.
And then we'll get Michelle Gondry and Charlie Kaufman.
Yeah.
You can't blame Gondry for fucking Green Hornet because Sony, you know?
Instead of CGI robots, they'd all be like made out of cardboard. Like,
Or
cardboard
Wes
sticks.
Anderson and Charlie Kaufman. How great would that be? I want Wes Anderson's X-Men. Did you ever see that trailer? Fans made a trailer. It's a fan trailer. Wes Anderson's X-Men.
I don't know if I have.
I would love to see that made. It's basically Rushmore with X-Men.
Nice.
The team of writers. Yeah, they came with a team of writers, and then Michael Bay took all that writing and shoved it into one movie.
Yeah, and they're on different teams, those writers. So
Yeah, whatever.
man, it'll come out. I won't watch it. Whatever.
The trick is getting the Chinese not to watch it. We've got to somehow convince them. If they could not watch it, then we'll get some action.
Yeah.
They won't drop the franchise, but they'll have to figure a way around it. I would let Rob Schrab. I would love to get Rob Schrab in charge of the Transformers movie.
Hmm.
You know? I mean, if I could pick anyone to fix it, it'd probably be Jon Favreau. I think he'd have a good blend. But he's off making Disney films, so that's never going to happen.
Yeah. Wonder what happened with Rob Schraub and the Lego movie he was supposed to be working on.
That's tough because they went and hired that fucking idiot to direct the Lego 2 and replace that studio guy. I don't like him. He did a bunch of those shitty fucking like Smurfs films or whatever. It's one of those dudes. And so
Well, the
my
thing
get,
is,
hmm?
it was really late in the process too.
I really think they're just Lego's very look. I appreciate the company a lot, having worked with them in T-shirts. You know, like they just see these things as commercials for their toys, so they don't care about trying to appeal to mass audiences in terms of like they want to appeal to their audience. You know, they're not trying to shove in Katy Perry in a Lego movie, but you know, look, Lego Batman was great. Ninjago, you know, like it's a property my people my age don't give a shit about, but I can tell you, they canceled Ninjago at its height. That was our number one selling shit, and they were like, "Yeah, we know, but we're doing Shima now. But what about Ninjago?" Walmart was pissed. Like, we don't care, you know. And you're gonna use water-based inks. But those are expensive. Well, then you don't have to fucking make our shirts. We don't give a shit. So maybe Rob didn't want to. I don't know. Maybe Rob is a coke addict. I don't know. Maybe you know? Maybe he just made some weird ass shit, you know, which we can all love, but I don't know. I love his stuff. I don't like who they. The guy they got to me says they got a studio guy to replace him.
Hmm.
That's how it comes across to me. You know, which is their right to do, but it is disheartening.
What did you think about Tom Hardy being cast as Venom?
I'm more interested that they cast the director of Zombieland to direct it. I think with what they're trying to do right now with Spider-Man, they're not going to throw him into another Venom movie where he gets all emo and depressed or angry and now we hate him. I don't think they want to get to that anytime soon. So being able to go do Venom as its own thing in the way that, you know, like Logan is its own thing, they could make an R-rated Deadpool style comedy, you know, with Venom and get away with it at Sony, I think.
You think it'll be comedy?
It's the Zombieland director. I think it'll be dark comedy, and that Zombieland was dark but also comedy, right?
Hmm.
Also, who else worked on the Zombieland movies? Oh, the Deadpool writers. So yeah, I definitely think Deadpool is their mold for this. Will he be wise, you know, wisecracker? Maybe wisecrack, quack. I'm talking like a fucking moron. Cracker. He'll be a cracker. But I could say that. I'm white. Um, it'll be interesting if they put him in space. I doubt it, but I would like to see that. But since it's Eddie Brock, they said, I just don't want it. Whatever they do, man, I just hope it isn't the I hate Spider-Man because Peter Parker takes pictures of Spider-Man. Like that is not, you
That's
know,
not good motivation.
no shit. But yeah, I definitely think it needs some humor to it. You know, playful humor like Deadpool, Zombieland. You know, but definitely more edgy. So sure, hey, why not? Fuck it. We'll know when we can see what his face looks like because if he looks like the Venom that appeared in Spider-Man 3, then no chance. His face is so bad. The fangs, however, they fucking so horrible. So bad. He looks like a Goomba from the Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah, Spider-Man 3 was another just totally forgettable movie. Like except for the part where Tobey Maguire's like walking down the road all like in that like weird sort of super cocky attitude music scene that they did. Like that's about the only thing I remember from the movie.
Well, that's where, I worked. That was like the first big Marvel movie I did merchandise on.
Mm.
That one and X-Men 3 and Ghost Rider back to back. Fun fucking year. Uh,
Man.
yeah, fun year, guys. And I remember complaining all the time. They should just fucking get Iron Man. Iron Man sucks. I'm like, it's what they told me. I'm like, sure. So that's no joke. But I did blame Sony for Spider-Man 3. Well, they made Raimi put Venom in it, and he wanted the Vulture. I'm like, yeah, so who forced the fucking shitty dancing in that film? Why is everyone dancing in that film? There's that dance sequence between Emma Stone and James Franco. Like the thing that got me the most, more than the Venom thing, was that fucking butler who goes, "I never told you." No, no, no. I'm like, I thought it was pretty. At the end of Spider-Man 2, I thought it was pretty apparent that Harry knew Spider-Man, Peter Parker was Spider-Man.
Hmm.
And then at the third movie, they're like, "Nope, he don't know." I'm like, "What? You don't know? Like what?" Like it is so stupid, man. So fucking dumb. That cartoony ending with the reporter. We're here now, and we got Sandman and a mysterious Venom. Like I don't know, it's fucking so dumb. So dumb. Oh, so dumb. I had to work on that shit. I'm like, oh, so he's the Night Surfer. That was his name, Harry's name in the style guide, Night Surfer. I was like, fuck, you know.
It's great, great name. Just
What
right
I
up
think is
there
the
with
worst,
Taserface.
the Pirates of the Transformers movies. Did also the Transformers movies, and here's why. Because those Pirates movies never should have worked to begin with, and yet, you know what I mean. Somehow, the first movie works brilliantly, and then the second and third movie, obviously not as much, but it has memorable scenes. You
Hmm.
know, like there's a great Q&A they did with those guys. Jeff Goldsmith did with those guys, and they were like, they explained their way around the story and what they were trying to do. It was very clever, but it didn't work out. They were basically saying that they wrote it so that if you took each one of those character stories and just re-edited it, you would see a whole movie with each one, And then they just took those and then rearranged them so that you could get three different movies. And I'm like, that's why no one cared. Like very clever. You guys like went to like clever yourself out with that script and those arcs, but it didn't work for the movie, man.
Yeah.
You know. But with Transformers, it's giant robots, guys. You know what I'm saying? With GI Joe and all sorts of shit you can do. Like it ain't. What does dogs humping couches have to do with Transformers? Explain that fucking shit to me. Whoever thought, hey, I can't wait till they make a Transformers movie and we should have a dog humping, you know, so dumb. So they're equally annoying at this point, but I give Pirates more of a pass than Transformers. Like, okay, when Johnny Depp shows up at the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, everyone's like, oh my god, it's Johnny Depp, that's amazing. If Michael Bay showed up, first, I don't think most people know who Michael Bay was, but he might get booed. Yeah. I mean, I make a jar of dirt joke here and there. I can't remember making one joke from a Transformers film. Name one joke where you're like, haha.
Uh, so there was this part where there was this dog and a couch.
Yeah, right.
Uh, that part was hilarious.
So, and anytime someone says, I'm irrelevant or I'm the worst artist, I go, but you have heard of me. So there's all sorts of stuff you can do with those films.
It's all right, Rob. You can always just tell yourself you're more relevant than I am.
No, I'm more irrelevant, Kyle.
Name one thing I've done.
Making a murderer.
Dang it. Name one thing I've done that was more than like a couple seconds.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Bro, it's
That's
all a
easy.
couple seconds when you equate it to time, right? In the billions of years on the planet. What has anyone done? You know? Really, Kyle? Really? Look at all the people who did lighting on Star Trek The Next Generation. Can you name any of them?
That did lighting?
Yeah,
No.
someone did it, right? Are they irrelevant? You know?
Yes.
Yes. You don't like when I make a point. That's what it is. Just want to feel sorry for myself. Well, hey, you know what? I'm all for it. I always say you can complain and bitch and feel sorry for yourself. That's fine, but the work still has to get done. I don't mind if you complain the whole fucking way, but the work has to get done regardless. We can't complain and not do anything. Look, when I say which one's better, I'm not saying I think they're equally good. I'm just saying, I'll give a bigger pass to Pirates because it's a fucking based off a Disneyland ride. Transformers were so cool that it had nothing but just a couple toys at Toys R Us when I was a kid. And I was like, that's fucking awesome. They're robots that turn into shit. You know? It shouldn't work. I mean, it's crazy. But they're fucking up Dinobots. How you fuck up Dinobots? You know what I mean? They're dinosaurs that transfer. They don't even have Grimlock in the movie. Whatever that is not Grimlock.
I'm just waiting for the GoBots movie.
No one likes GoBots. The Charles Barkley guy, the main robot with the Charles Barkley glasses. GoBots were at KB's and Transformers were at Toys R Us. So when you went to the mall, you were stuck with the GoBot. But if you could trick your parents into going to fucking Toys R Us, you could come out with a better toy.
GoBots also didn't have the cool little hologram heat sensitive things where you could put your finger on it and it would tell you if they're a Decepticon.
Hey man, GoBots don't have the word Transformers in their title, so I don't give a shit. GoBots. Remember in the GoBots animated movie, it was GoBots and the Rock Lords. They were rocks.
Wait, they did a movie?
An animated film in the 80s.
Uh,
Bro, I forget nothing. GoBots and the Rock Lords.
GoBots
The
go!
Rock Lords. They made rocks. Remember that scene in Big when he's like, it's a building that transforms into a robot? He's like, it's a fucking building. Who cares? I'm like, they made rocks.
They transform them into rocks.
And they rolled around.
Nice. They rock and roll.
Yeah.
Very on the nose.
In theory. People just give GoBots a pass because they're like, I remember it. I'm like, I remember it well, and it wasn't cool then. It was just an extra thing that,
Wasn't cool then. It's not cool now.
it wasn't. It was just an extra thing, How do I feel about Alien Covenant? I don't care. Like I actually like Prometheus because I understand what it is. But make Prometheus or make Alien. Don't make. It's like Mr. Miyagi says: karate good or karate bad. Karate so-so. You get hit from both sides. Make an Alien movie or make a Prometheus film. Don't fucking do some weird hybrid remake. Plus, I don't know about you guys, but paying $40 to see fucking an Alien movie in the theater, I don't know about that anymore. Like Alien Isolation, like it was a great video game and it works, but I just think like it's like a Netflix thing at this point. Alien. Unless you got some like aliens on Earth, giant Earth spanning fucking thing. I just don't. They're not showing me anything I haven't already seen. So I just think Ridley got butthurt and he's trying to like, you know, he should have just retired after The Martian, or get Drew Goddard to write everything he works on.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably go see the new Aliens movie. But it's not one I'm gonna race out to catch like this weekend. Go watch it on like $6 movie day or whatever. Dearborn.
I don't know what Hector's talking about. Hector can
You
get a
want
little.
to? I guess he's on a trip somewhere.
Yeah.
What are you doing there? Detroit.
Ah, Detroit. Yeah. Yeah, speaking of demilitarized zones, I've been there. Just listen to Kid Rock really loud and you'll be all right. I love Kid Rock, but they love him there even more. You'll be okay.
Happy birthday to your mom.
Did you get the Heat 4K remaster?
No. Should I?
Yeah, they remastered it in 4K, dog. Color
Yeah.
graded, all sorts of shit. You're not a big Heat guy?
I liked it. Not enough to need to buy the new release. I mean,
Mm,
even though they had it for like $8 for a while on Amazon.
not worth $8?
Well, it was like I'd have to like click on it and it would like go through the mail and then I'd have to open it up and stick it in my player. Yeah, that's a lot of work, man.
And that's why Kyle's a player. Big with the ladies.
Yep. Lady's like, "You want to do something, Kyle?" I'm like, man, then I have to like go somewhere. Like, I don't know. This seems like a lot of work.
No, they're like, no, making the movie was a lot of work, asshole. Watching the movie is supposed to be fun.
Well, so it's part. Yeah, I got a new remaster, but it's also part. Well, they did a 4K remaster. They're just gonna put it out on like in 4K disc in like 6 months
Hmm.
after everyone spent their money buying the Blu-ray copy. So yeah, I know how these companies think.
I know. I know how these companies think. I know the cut of their jib. Well, I only hold out on buying like the Star Wars Blu-rays until they do the 3D version because that's where all the good shit is. Yeah. So.
I got the Star Wars Blu-rays for pretty cheap, used a couple years ago.
I would never buy the special editions, man. You know, just can't
Well,
do it.
I
I got
I
Addy
did.
Wan's versions. That's my
Yeah.
special edition. Empire should be done in June. Ten
Oh, really?
years. 10 years, and I've personally sunk $800 into that fucking.
Holy cow.
Yeah, because back in 2008, I contributed quite a bit to getting him the Falcon model that he has and everything,
Hmm.
and building into that. So I put money into this fucking thing.
I put $0 into it.
Before there was crowdfunding, you know? It's pretty amazing what he's managed to do, though.
Yeah, even if they put out like 4K versions of Star Wars, I won't be buying those until they give me the originals. The originals. I'd even settle for the THX remaster that they did. But I don't want CGI Jabba the Hutt
They have them,
scene.
dude. Where do you think they pulled all the fucking footage for Rogue One from?
Oh, well, yeah, I
They're
know they
done. Like,
exist.
that's the heartbreaking part. You know, it's like they have them, but they signed that deal with Lucas. The one that kills me the most about it is that the one that's supposed to be in the archive for the films, the whatever, the American Film Institute archive, the fucking thing our government put together to save. They don't even
Hmm.
have a copy of the original anymore. He made them take the special edition, you know?
Which we always got to go back to his quote where he was talking about he was testifying to Congress that they need to preserve all the original versions of
Oh,
movies.
yeah, yeah, yeah. When he was testifying against the whole Ted Turner thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you saying he's a little hypocritical?
No, I would never say that.
He complains about the man when he's the man. You know, it's like in his head, he doesn't equate his actions with the ones that he hates.
Hmm.
There was this podcast a couple years ago that put out this interview Lucas did. It was before American Graffiti came out, and you could tell he was like giving up on Hollywood. And he was, you know, he did THX 1138, and he was doing some stuff with Coppola and moving into documentaries. And he thought, I'm gonna get into education. I want to do all these things. And Hollywood, the studio system, just and every fucking complaint is what he is now. Like it's the, it's, I can't remember the name of it, but just listening to it, so prophetic, you know.
He became
I mean,
everything he
without Lucas,
hates.
I'm gonna be using Photoshop, so I'm not gonna fucking complain. But you
Yeah.
know, like that doesn't give a pass on fucking up Star Wars. You know,
Hmm.
like no one's immune to making bullshit. You know, and if you make bullshit, own up to it and fix it. Like if he had come out with the Phantom Menace as is, and then with Attack of the, just made the second movie called The Clone Wars, not Attack of the Clones, and just fixed his problems, brought in some writers to help him, you know what I mean? Brought in a director to help him, and then just fix it, people would have been like, well, he was a little rusty.
Hmm.
We'd be giving that movie a bigger pass. But the fact that they get worse until the very end of Revenge of the Sith, when I hate it, but people are like, well, he goes evil, so that's better. I'm like, that fucking movie sucks. It's the worst. For me, it's almost the worst of the three, except that Attack of the Clones is so bad with the giant flea thing, riding the riding the giant flea. I don't know how to deal with it. It's like the opposite of when you see Luke on a tauntaun. You know, the complete opposite feeling you would get
Yeah.
is what that invokes. Hey, what's up, Kira?
I will say, like, the original Star Wars movies were probably like the biggest influencing factor on me going into the industry that I chose.
On all of us, man. Like people just can't. Kids just can't understand how different it was compared to everything else.
Hmm.
It was so strikingly different than anything else that the second you saw it, you couldn't help but stop and just stare at it. Part of it was the believability of the world. Like, it looked like it was shot out in the desert. Like it. Part of it was just iconography, which I mean, you have to give tremendous credit to like the production design for figuring that out because name sci-fi films that you can, you know what I mean? They mostly just look like dog shit. Even to this day, they just look like over. Look, go watch Sense8. Get back to me on that one. Like it's ridiculous. One of the first memories I have of seeing Star Wars was that we used to have these. You may well no, you're not really from you from California, from
No.
Idaho. So we used to have these in San Diego and in LA. We had these local electronics stores called Dow. They're kind of like furniture stores, but they feature electronics. So they're big
Hmm.
commercials like DOW Dow, whatever. And I remember going there around '82, and right when Star Wars ended up on video cassette, and so they were playing it on all the TVs when we were in there. We are going to buy a TV, and it was when they're storming the ship, the Tantive 4 in the beginning of the film, right? And I remember just staring at it, and my mom was like, "I don't want to watch that." And this girl that was working there was like, "But it's Star Wars." Yeah, like she just couldn't fathom that my mom was like, "I don't want him seeing that shit." Meanwhile, my mom was like a hell of a militaristic person, Like I don't know. My mom didn't enjoy fun, but I just remember staring at it like nothing like it looked like anything for a long time. The closest you could get to it was like, maybe some Battlestar Galactica, but Blade Runner looked cool, but I couldn't fucking tell what was going on when I was a kid. you know, I mean, I barely understand now. The people who made it didn't really know what was going on with that movie. So, but by the time the prequels came along, God, I was so into Star Wars, man. I remember just being the last bastion of Star Wars fans in the '90s. People were just like Star Wars. I was like, fuck yeah, and they're like, that shit sucks. I was like, no, it doesn't. Fucking, it was hard, bro.
Yeah.
Star Trek people got more respect than Star Wars people at cons. Like you could get respect for like Star Wars lightsabers replicas. But I remember showing up in a Star Wars costume at Comic Con in 1993. It didn't go over well, you know. There was no 501st Legion. You understand what I mean?
Hmm.
There were no one. Star Trek was it. One time I saw a guy try to dress up. He was a guy who had mental issues. He was a very large man, and he wrapped himself up in tin foil and put an Autobot symbol on his chest. I shit you not. And I'd brought my little brother to this con. It's '96, and my little brother was looking at him. He goes, "When did the Transformers get fat?" I'm like, "Dude, you can't do that." And he just turned around and just wearing tinfoil with the Autobot symbol, you know? It's not looking right to me. Um, but the Phantom Menace, man, like, such a hard thing at the time. I'd like to say I was a guy going, fuck this, but I wasn't. You know,
Me neither.
I was like, well, I mean, yeah, some of that stuff's annoying and there's some weird cuts here and there, but, man, I mean, Liam Neeson was dope and Darth Maul is cool. All the things I liked, they killed. They got rid of.
Like Duel of the Fates, great song.
Right. I mean, it was a music video on MTV for crying out loud.
Yeah,
Whoever thought that was going to happen? And, you
I was
know,
definitely in denial. I saw it 5 times in the theater.
and having played the Star Wars West End role playing games so much, one of the rules in West End games was that you couldn't have battle droids. I was like, why can't, if you got droids, why can't you have droid warriors? And they were banned by the Empire. I was like, oh, maybe it has to do with the Clone Wars. So when I saw the battle droids, I was like, that's why they're banned. So I was like reading way into shit, dude, that just wasn't fucking apparent. Like none of it mattered. Like no, maybe they went that's how they kind. I don't know, man. Who knows what Lucas was thinking. I just love that making of the Phantom Menace that was on the VHS release. I think it was on the initial Blu-ray, the DVD release as well. But I remember they're looking at the what do you call that? The screen test they were doing for it came down to 3 kids. Some kid I'd never seen before, like a bigger kid, Jake Lloyd, the fucking dude, little shitbag that's in there, and Lucas liked him. And this kid who went on to play the Sixth Sense kid like a year later, or like the same year, like the Sixth Sense kid. They came down to this, and he gave a riveting performance, dude. Go watch it. You're just looking, and Doug Chain's like that kid's. Doug Chang, the art director for episode 1, was like, that's the one. And Lucas is like, I just think this other one has this potential. And you could see Doug Chain's face. He puts his hand over his face like nobody wants to say no. You know? Nobody wants to say no, man. And the fact they even let that out. Like I love that scene of that. There's also that other scene where he sees the movie for the first time with Rick McCallum, and he comes back to his place and Rick McCallum's there and Ben Burt's there and he's like, I may have gone too far. I'm like, no shit. That was what helped, sort of clarify my stance with the movie. I was like, look, even he's not buying it. I'm like, well, he'll fix it. And that did not happen. It got so bad that by the time Revenge of the Sith came out, I didn't even want to see the movie, man. Someone had to pay for me to go see it. If you had told me in 1997 that I was not going to pay to go see a Star Wars movie, I mean, I'd have believed Armageddon would have killed us all before that had ever happened. You know? I'm not a religious guy, so that's they took it away from me. So when people go, "Oh, the Force Awakens," and then I'm like, man, it made me want to go see Star Wars again. So if you hate it, enjoy your fucking 3 films. I hate it. I had to work on the Phantom Menace 3D re-release merchandise, and let me tell you, no one bought anything. Just so you all know, they gave us free tickets to go see it, and no one wanted to go. And I was like, well, maybe the 3D pod racer will at least be fun to watch this shit in 3D. Turns out the conversion's horrible. It's really bad because they did it in-house. Like the conversion they use over at Disney is the Marvel shit. You know what I mean? The shit the pipeline they develop at Disney. But that
Hmm.
one over was their own thing over with the Phantom Menace fucking nonsense. Barely even 3D ish. Like that pod racer sequence should look great in 3D, right?
For
Even if
sure.
you don't like it, it should look pretty fucking cool. And it does not. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. But it's cool, man. Now I don't care. They fuck some shit up. I'm like, well, they can always fix it 20 years later. Whatever. Unless it's Fantastic Four. They're going to have to give the rights back to Marvel. There's no way Fox pulls out a win. How you make 3 fucking films and fail worse every time?
Great question.
And still be allowed to continue? Yeah, Fantastic Four should work. The Incredibles proves it. You know?
Yep.
And the fact that Blade has 2 great films and the Fantastic Four has none is just crazy to me. Not that I hate Blade, I'm just saying, if you had told me, I'd have never thought that was the case. That would be the case. But it's true. They just don't get. Yeah, but Deadpool, one, it was in a bubble, right? So the studio stayed away from it, you know? And two, these studios just, tent poles, right, Kyle?
Hmm.
You know? That's why everyone needs to go support Thor Ragnarok. The more Kirby you put in these fucking films, the better off we're going to be once they get Fantastic Four. We're going to get giant Kirby Galactus. I'm going to be there opening day rooting. I love the design of Galactus. It's so absurd. Oh, no, I like Colossus. You're crazy. They nerfed Colossus in X-Men 2. Doesn't do jack shit. Not everyone can be a badass. Someone has to be the straight man. Hmm. 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 So, did you prefer the IMAX Guardians or the laser projection?
I didn't see the laser projection. Um, but I went opening night. I just went to a regular theater because it was kind of last minute that I found out my schedule for work, and
Oh,
so
I get you.
and then it came down to either IMAX 3D or just 2D laser projection for my second viewing. I was like, I'll watch it in 3D. And then Alien took over the laser theater this week, so
That sucks.
yeah, I mean it's fine.
Mortal Kombat movie. I don't need to see Mortal Kombat at theaters. They could do a really good Mortal Kombat. I'd want it on Netflix where you can get gory, you know, like The Punisher. Into the Badlands.
I haven't had a chance to watch that yet.
It's cool. It's fun. It's not super deep, but you look at that, you're like, I can't believe this shit came out it's at the same time as Iron Fist. Ha!
Yeah, I think one of my friends worked in the prop department for Into the Badlands. But I think I think they shot that in Louisiana, maybe Georgia. A lot of those shows are shooting in Georgia these days.
Fascinating. Into the Badlands. Ooh, I don't want to spoil it. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's an AMC show.
Yeah. But it's cool. It's what Iron Fist should have been.
Well, I'm gonna peace out. My laptop battery's dying, and I'm hungry, so I'm gonna make some food.
It's all good. Thanks for hanging out.
No problem. I'll catch you later.
Talk to you later. Peace. Hmm. Hey man, if they had just actually made Assassin's Creed and not whatever they made, if I could turn any movie into a video game into... I think I already said this the other day. I'm trying to remember what I said though. I wasn't really thinking about it at the time. You know, I had an answer for this that made a lot of sense, and now I can't remember. I mean, look, you could easily do Resident Evil in a way in which Resident Evil actually really is Resident Evil. You know, so that's a pretty easy one. That wasn't my pick though. Um, yeah, Metal Gear is cool, but you kind of have to restructure some of the story away from some of the more absurd elements. Yeah, there's a lot of narrative-based ones that could work well. Portal can work well. Half-Life can work well in that format. You know, Left 4 Dead could work well in that format. Metal Gear could work well, but I think Metal Gear I would still prefer to be more. I like the character design, so it'd have to have a little bit of an MCU look to it, like a Nolan with a little bit of that MCU kind of tech look, you know. But I don't know about a movie because I don't know, you know. But I did have something. Oh, what the hell did I say? Yeah, I don't write this shit down. Is the problem? Overwatch would be a great animated one, but that wasn't it. I don't know. I can't remember the one that I actually had figured out. So. No, it wasn't it. It's not what you would think. You'd go, I don't know, but then you think about it, you're like, holy shit, that would actually work. It'll come to me later. I'll have to write it down when it does. Red Steel. No, Red Steel 2, motherfucker. We all know Red Steel 2 was the better game. You know, Red Dead Redemption would be amazing. You know, you could definitely do it. That wasn't the game. Let's pick some weird shit. Let's pick some games you're like, I don't know. You know, like Arkanoid. Let's make Arkanoid into a show. Super Puzzle Fighter Turbo. You know? And we can use CGI to make everyone all chibi-like. Conker's Bad Fur Day. You know, an R-rated CGI. Yeah, we can get the Seth Rogen, the Sausage Party dudes to produce it. That'll work. Yeah, Jade card, get a nice Studio Ghibli RPG. Kingdom Hearts, maybe. It's not. It's not goofy enough. Need something like Maniac Mansion. They did a TV show on Maniac Mansion. That was horrible. Let's do Res the movie, and it's just a 6 hour long Res level, or it's a 3 hour long Res. Like, what the fuck is this? Oh yeah, yeah. You know what? Claymation Psychonauts from the Leica people. I think that's actually what I was saying. I would, if I had one shot, I could get away with anything. I would take the claymation, the stop motion thing from the Kubo and the two strings, and do a Psychonauts series. I think that's what I was saying. Good call, Kira. It would have to be that stop motion puppetry slash CGI thing. They do Kubo and Coraline in 3D. Yeah. My favorite games make me laugh. They're not just being a badass. If I can't get some humor out of it, then it's not enough for me. Yeah, like No More Heroes, you know, Travis touchdown, all that weird ass shit. But it would have to be Psychonauts. That definitely was the pick I was thinking of in stop motion. If I could get away with it, that's what I would do. Not saying it'd be the $1 billion. Look, it would be that if I had to make a movie that I knew could return on its investment 100%, then it would be Pokemon. Not the one they're fucking making, but like a Pokemon movie, which is essentially a remake of Karate Kid or Rocky, where, you know, it's about the kids having to team up with their Pokemon to win the tournament. You know, the fact that they're making a Pokemon movie and Pikachu's a detective is fucking ridiculous to me. Like, it could be the video game movie that would open up all the other video game movies if you just had that Spielberg like kid teams up with fantastical creature to win the tournament, you know? And they're everywhere. They're hidden right around the corner. You could go out there and collect Pokemon using Pokemon Go right there at the movie theater. Like, you go outside and fucking all the fucking movie theaters could be gyms. Not inside the movie, obviously. But it would be what I would do. So that would be my responsible choice.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, you finally showed up.
Yeah, I was walking the dog when you texted me. Saw it when I came back in. And here I am. I assume you're all caught up on the chat room.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, cool. Final Fantasy IX. What?
I believe it because I've been saying it for years in licensing that Pokemon's this giant thing that is just under, like every other Nintendo property, they don't understand their own licensing. So when everyone's like, I can't believe, I'm like, yeah, I don't. I'm not shocked. I used to tell people how big Pokemon was going to be before it even came out. When I was working at a toy store in 1996 and 7. I was like, it's going to be huge. And I tried to explain it, and they were just like, what? It was at the time it was going to be called Pocket Monsters and Galubusumi because of Monster in my pocket. And I was in the army, and I bought it when it first came out. All the Joes were like laughing at me. 2 years later, they were all buying Pokemon Stadium on the Nintendo 64. That was fun. Thanks, Zach. But the fact that they're going to turn Pokemon into a detective film, stupid.
Yeah,
Fucking
it's dumb.
stupid. Just make a Karate Kid, dude. You know what I'm saying? And the world's worst fucking Karate Kid, but he gets the world's greatest Pokemon, which is this one thing, a Pikachu. You know what I mean? And it's the kid with the
Right.
least amount of talent, but they have to work together. You know, like it's just hard, Brandon. Fucking turning it into a motherfucking detective. I love detective stuff, bro. I love Professor Layton. I love Poirot and Sherlock Holmes. No one goes Pokemon detective.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Fucking dumb. Then they're gonna, when it doesn't work, they're gonna be like, "Well, see, we told you, video games, movies don't work." I'm like, "No, that isn't it." That's like when Steel came out, trying to tell me how a shared MCU universe or Superman films couldn't work because Steel didn't work. Like Steel could still work, just not that version of it.
Right. A lot of bad movies could have worked given different directors or just a little tweaking. And it doesn't take much to,
A lot of conceptual stage.
yeah.
You almost done with that playlist yet?
Hmm.
It's only 457 videos. Aren't you done yet?
I'm on 347.
Tell everyone what you're up to.
I am reorganizing the playlist so that when you go to, let's say, watch
Which playlist?
this piece, the real-time art playlist. So let's say when you go to watch just this Final Fantasy piece, for example, and since Rob does things in different days and different stages, the videos get kind of spaced out. So when you go to watch a video, it might jump to a different one. So I'm going in and reorganizing it so that every single video set will flow together. So you'll see this Final Fantasy 9 piece from construction to roughy lines to inking and pencil to flats to coloring, all one long set. So you'll see the whole thing from beginning to end on each video. Now I have to go back through the past couple years and reorganize everything to make that all happen. And it's easy in some places, and then some places not, where Rob will have a random cover to do or random something that pops in between that. So you'll get these spaces where I have to go find where he stopped, started, and then plug them in. So it's easy and hard at the same time. It's just tedious, I guess, would be a. But I'm not complaining.
Because I don't care. It has to be done. And Brandon has to do it. That's how Brandon contributes. He does the things we don't want to do around here. Right, Brandon? Can't hear you.
Yes.
Did you hit the microphone again?
Yes.
And so whenever I said Brandon does the things we don't want, everything after that couldn't hear you.
I said I do the shit work,
No, we didn't.
pretty much. Paying my dues. Not
Well,
those
paying
other-
your dues implies it's going to stop at some point. I don't think you understand that this is the way it is now.
Mhm.
It's nice that Brandon's so committed to the prosperity of this channel. Brandon's committed to the prosperity that he and his wife will actually see a return on their art investment, which does work when I'm involved. So, plus he gets, I think you get the idea too, like, what else you got going on? So it's
Right.
like, if you want to do this, here's what you can do. So, there was a time you were going to do your own podcast, remember that?
mentioned it. I said it'd be fun to do one.
You mentioned it. You went on to Facebook and took a poll.
I don't remember that, but I believe
Hey,
you.
what do you guys the content you'd like to see? I'm thinking about like that was hilarious. I know
If
you
you
don't.
find it, I'll believe you.
I know you don't. Okay, I'll dig it up.
There you
But
go.
you did it. You don't have to remember it.
Hey, Rob, Zach asks, how long does a piece take you usually?
Don't know.
I'd say Rob averages anywhere between a piece like this, probably 13
No,
to
not
15
13. You're
hours.
crazy. A page. You know? No. It could take 12 hours to render a page depending on how many characters are on there. You know? These are 2 pages. So. There's nothing fast about this.
It takes Rob anywhere between 1 minute and infinity.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, that's basically it. There's nothing simple about any of this. You know? Which is crazy because you would think something that looked more realistic, all DigiPaint would take longer, right? Because it has more detail. But when you start drawing things and adding things into specific lines, it takes twice as long. You know? So it's like, it's just I'm committed to the look, you know? I miss the older stuff. I like that people can see. I think you can't with the digital paint stuff. I just don't think you can see someone's style. I think it all ends up looking the same. You know, some people you can, but most people you can't. But when people start drawing things, you know, which just tends to be what studios hate. They want it all to flow together seamlessly. But it's getting faster. I'll be honest, uh, Zach. I stopped counting the time. What time did I stop counting the time? Somewhere last year, I stopped caring how long things take and just started getting done with trying to get them to look the way I want them to look. You know, once I stopped caring how long they took, long as I meet my deadlines, you know, and I can sort of tell when I'm at a position in a piece if I can make that deadline or not, you know. So. Every time I start worrying about the time, it turns into more worrying about the time than getting things done. Hey, what's up, part 2? So I just produce less. As an artist, it sounds crazy, but I'm like, I just produce less and put more effort into the stuff I produce. That's basically it. That's the trick. Produce less. You know? Kind of in it for the long haul, not so much the short return. Because we all know, like, yeah, the execution. Because what if you get it done really fast and it still sucks? But everyone else tells you it's great because you tried hard? Doesn't mean anything, right?
That's
Yeah.
my last couple years.
Well, couple. We gonna
All
limit it to
right,
that?
ass. It's all my years of art up until working with the wonderful SketchCraft and pushing myself further as an artist.
The wonderful SketchCraft. It's like the shitty show. It's the wonderful world of SketchCraft. Motherfucker!
Right?
Learn to draw! Like, get back to me in 6 years. Like when Brandon asked me a question that I've answered years ago, and I just point him right to where? The website, the YouTube channel thing.
Because I do it for the people who are new to your
No, 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 no. You
videos.
will ask me shit I've already told you. I'm not talking about that. My favorite is when you ask me questions to answers you which you already know. Now, not to say you shouldn't have deadlines. You should always have goals, but if you can't, if you can't ever hit those goals, then what's the point? So, deadlines motivate you. I wish that was enough. I think just wanting to work on something and, really just wanting to get it done is basically it. And so if I get someone who's like, we think you'd be good for this fit, can you draw like this? Or can you design my character for? I'm like, nope, don't want to do any of it. So if I don't want to do it, then it doesn't really matter how much money's involved or what the deadline is. Just won't do it anymore. This comes from 10 years of like fighting those battles to little or no effect. All I know is the second I stopped caring how long things took, and I didn't take every job that came along, and I just did what I thought I'd be good at, it seems to be working out, right? Right, Brandon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you can hit that point where you kind of know what's best for you. Like I know what I'd be good at better than most people, so like if I didn't want to finish that game in form recovery, it wouldn't have got done.
Right.
Yeah. It's just really no matter you could say, well, it's game informer. Well, it's a good opportunity. Well, if I didn't want to do it, this looks like a lot of work. Oh, it's a lot of work. Yeah. I always like that cliffhanger, kind of style art, the 90s PlayStation magazine covers from the late 90s. So to be able to do all that by myself has always been the goal. I sucked for so long. This is, just could not attain all of that by myself. And now I'm getting fairly close, like close enough. I'm not as good as Joe Mad or any of those guys, but all combined, you know, it's enough to execute the tone, I think, which is enough for Senior Rob. Senior Rob. Yeah, so that's always been my goal is to continue doing that. I just didn't know how, and I suck at inking, so I had to go learn how to do things digitally and then my own way, and somehow make it work. And I'd say it really has been since Christmas. For me, the recolor on the GTA thing is the first time I kind of got close to that. The first one ever was the enslaved piece I did. That was when I was like, all right, I could see that I'm almost, I thought I was almost there. Turns out I was 6 years away from achieving. Turns out I wasn't very close at all, but I thought I was, which was important. You know. So the next step is to figure out how to get a version of this with my sequential art that isn't obviously this, coloring over the roughy lines or something, like stopping at a certain early point, limiting how many layers of shade or whatever I can do, and then turning out interior work that will match, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Greatness waits. Am I ready? Are you? And then we were at Comic Con 1995 or 6, I can't remember. And I think it was 5
It's been so long.
or 6, can't remember. And they had this little PlayStation booth, and they were showing off Tobal 1 and Parappa. There's this little booth in the back, right by the cafeteria. And they had their PlayStation shirts, and it was RU, and there was an E colored red. And we were looking at RUE, RURE. And we were just looking at it, we don't get it. And then my buddy goes, oh, look, RU red E. And we're like, oh, like in front of the Japanese guys. They're just looking at us like, oh, hey. Like, haha. They thought we're incredibly stupid. It's like, I get it. Hey, hey. It's funny because it's the red E. It's true. Haha.
Mm-hmm.
You placating me, Vernon?
Mm-hmm.
Why, you a shit talker now? You want to start this?
No, not at all.
Let's do it.
No. I'm too tired.
That's how you want to spend your. Is this how you really want to spend your Friday night?
No, that's why I'm just agreeing with you. I'm placating you because I'm too tired to be like, whoa, excited. So I'm just like, uh-huh, yes. So there's another voice in this conversation instead of you just. I don't have the chat up because I'm doing the videos, so I'm just following along with the story. So once you say the question or the story, then I have to chime in as much as I can, while also trying to look at videos that, like looking at these playlists just so everybody knows, Rob is very meticulous with the way he labels them. So you'll see the same thing repeated with little variations. So you have to really pay attention, because I made a mistake the other night, and it won't happen again.
Dude, the mistake you made was not looking at the video before you posted it.
Let me finish.
Or if you're talking about adding plural to Saturns. Is that what you're talking about?
No. The point is I'm getting to that. When when your videos are up, right? Like the videos that were up, it'll say just SketchCraft Live till they eventually get the names added to them. So now, going back to the old videos, you'll have SketchCraft Live, Copic the Darkness, SketchCraft Copic the Darkness Part 2, SketchCraft the Darkness Copic Color Guide, and SketchCraft Let's Draw Darkness. So a lot of things are very same, so I have to make sure when I'm going through and organizing them, I put them in the right order, because they almost all look the same except for maybe 1 or 2 word variations. Now, when I fucked up the other night, I only saw one video, which was the newest video, because I forgot that once we record, it takes like 15, 20 minutes for it to load into the video section. Yeah.
That's why I say that word
ingest.
The thing you're like, what's that mean? I'm like, it means this. Remember that?
No, I still don't. I know what ingest means. I don't know that one word you said the other night. You told me not to be a shell.
Shill.
A shell.
Shish.
What the fuck? I'm gonna look that up. Shell. A gambler, swindler who acts as an enthusiastic customer to entice or encourage others.
Yeah. Yes.
So just fake enthusiasm?
Fake enthusiasm.
That's stupid.
Sounds similar, doesn't it? Sounds eerily familiar.
I mean it when I say I love SketchCraft. Okay, let's see.
The thing with the files is that I was trying a lot of different naming conventions at the time to see what would sort of stick, or when I look at it, makes a lot of sense. So when it looks a little like, I don't know if that, I don't know, that was me kind of working it out.
Right.
You know, there's no like, real answer for it. Other than, well, I was trying, and then I eventually settled on this. But you go back far enough, you get to see the process. Like, oh, I guess he kind of didn't know what he was doing right there. Yeah. Yeah, I still don't know what I'm doing. Just when I
Right.
kind of go, oh, that's working, I don't change it. I just move on to the next problem.
Yeah. Makes it fun for me.
Boo. Hoo. Right?
It sounds like that dog with the droopy ears. Boo hoo.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't watch TV.
Looney Tunes back in the day, the dog Droopy. Or
That's
whatever.
not Looney Tunes.
Whatever. You know what I'm talking about, though. The cartoon with the
Droopy's
dog.
Tex Avery, man. It's Tom and Jerry.
Alright, Tom and Jerry.
Don't say some shit that ain't some shit.
Hey, this is cartoons in your day, not my day. My day, we had
Then
different
you're the one who
cartoons.
brought it up. So don't bring
I
it
know,
up if you don't know what you're talking
you would
about.
know. I figured
I
you would
did.
know.
I did. You
There
didn't.
you go.
You figured right.
Right. If I throw some random shit on the wall, you're gonna figure out what it is.
Apparently,
And
well, I have to, because you say things so confidently, you don't even know if what you're saying is correct, which it obviously is not.
I just don't. I don't. It's whatever. In the end, you figured it out.
Looney Tunes.
Yeah, whatever. One of them cartoons back in the day.
What's back
When
in
I
the
was
day? The
What,
90s?
your days.
My days?
Yeah, like late 70s, early
At
80s.
least 70. I was born in 78, moron.
Yeah, late
When I
70s.
was what, an
So
ovium? I was like,
79, 80, 81,
uh-huh.
82,
Yeah,
83.
when I was connected to a placenta or something. Like,
I hope you weren't when you were 3.
it's 1 year old in 1979. It doesn't get much later than the 70s than that. I was an 80s kid, man. I like how you act like that was your plan all along. I'll just say the wrong thing and Rob will fix it. Like, you
It
really believe that
usually
was a Looney
is.
Tunes cartoon. Like, you didn't, that was not your plan. It's all fake.
I usually figure out. I usually think you'll figure it out. You'll.
Well, the number one game of all time is life. So, have fun with that one. Anything after that is subjective. How can you name the top games of all time? It's impossible. No such thing. I could name my favorite games. Like, what are your favorite video games?
Me?
Yeah, Brandon.
Prob Damn, favorite video games. I love most Mario games. I love most Pokemon games. Madden, whichever.
Specifically, your favorite game of all time. Can't say series.
Okay, my favorite game of all time is Rampart for the original Nintendo. I know you know what it is, but for the people who don't, it's a very, very simple game where you got 10 seconds to set up a brick castle, which is like Tetris pieces. You have to enclose it. The bigger you make it, the more cannons you get. You get a certain amount of cannons, and then there's like 10, 20 seconds of you get to shoot the other person's castle and break it apart, and then you got to rebuild your castle again. And eventually, whoever runs out of room or doesn't have a room for castles or anything's all destroyed, you win the match. It's a very simple yet fun game. And then that was always my favorite. And then Bomberman was pretty dope, playing people multiplayer. And Pokemon. So my all-time favorite is Rampart, but Pokemon I could always play anytime.
Interesting.
Gotta catch 'em.
Remember the first game I ever felt like I was like, this is so awesome, was Tempest in the arcade. It was a Vectrex game. Vectrex was this way of projecting graphics with like a laser. So like it wasn't really a laser, but it had a very similar look. And like the original Star Wars game was Vectrex, so they could do like 3D with this sort of look. And so Tempest was kind of like you had a spider web essentially, and you had a little knob, and you can move the little spider around, essentially like a Tron-looking spider around the center. And the web would change, so it would do different patterns, and stuff would come flying at you. And you had to like. They made a lot of countless versions of Tempest over the years, but that original one in the arcade was the first one that ever really. And then the Star Wars arcade game was a big deal for me when I was a kid. And then Super Mario Brothers on the Nintendo.
Yeah.
Was a big deal.
Turtles video games.
Yeah, Turtles too, because it was the first time I could like own the arcade at the home. I really felt. Look, I played arcade games at home, like Donkey Kong on the ColecoVision my uncle had.
Right.
And Super Mario Bros. Was just the arcade game. You know, the arcade wasn't Nintendo, so it's
Right.
irrelevant. But really, Maniac Mansion was a big deal because they managed to fit this giant puzzle/story thing into my NES, you know, which shouldn't have worked. And that was a game you could break pretty easily. Like, there were so many ways to beat the game that you could just break it and basically do stuff to where you're like, you're fucked. You kind of have to start the game over again. But it definitely... But Rampart was always one of my favorite arcade games because it had 2 trackballs.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you could, like, whenever you went to go shoot all the cannons at your opponents, you're just, like, flipping the trackball, you know, and just, like, laying waste to your opponent's fortress. I always felt like if they took that play mechanic and had a G.I. Joe's in, like, a backyard, you know, you'd get that cool, like, build your fort, destroy the fort.
Let's see, this goes here. Yeah, I'm glad you eventually got your naming system down.
You and me both.
Yeah, because like now that I'm getting to like I'm at like 380s, it's just like SketchCraft Live, let's digipaint or let's draw, you know. But then it's still easy to. I mean, I can still do it, but it's just like the newer way was like, yeah, the first 100 because those are the most recent ones. I'm like, yeah, this is awesome.
But that was me figuring it out. No one was asking me
Right.
to. You know what I mean? I'm like, I gotta figure this out. And, you know, you're like,
The
okay.
further I go down the rabbit hole.
Rampage. I had Rampage on the original NES. Didn't have the wolf. Used to play Rampage and Tiger Healy and Contra. Contra was a big deal. That's the first co-op game I ever had on the Nintendo that was like, you had to have Contra and Double Dragon. I never had it, so I was a loser. But like my friends would always have them. And the ultimate version was like, so you got Contra, Double Dragon, and then a year or two later you get Turtles the arcade game.
Hmm.
You know, that's like the 1, 2, 3 of multiplayer on the Nintendo. And for me, I didn't get another multiplayer game that felt as innovative as that on console until Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo. Game changer for me. You know, that made me realize I chose wrong. The Genesis. Mario Kart was the one that really did it. You know, I could talk myself out of loving Super Mario World, even though I wanted to love it. I'd go, well, I'm older. Mario's for little kids. I'm getting older now. I want a more mature experience. But Mario Kart was so. I was like, fuck, I could just keep playing this.
Yeah.
I could just keep playing this. I love this. I could just keep fucking playing little go karts and driving around tracks and shit. It's like, God damn it. So another game changing game for me was Link's Awakening on the Game Boy. It was like getting a giant Link game, but on the Game Boy, and it was a side story. It's still my favorite Link game. Mario 64 was a game changer for obvious reasons. Shining Force 1 and 2 were a big deal for me. One of my favorite games ever, Shadow Squadron. That was on the 32X. And if you ever saw a movie called The Last Starfighter, Shadow Squadron, if you play it with co-op, is basically like being in The Last Starfighter. One
Well,
person
that's cool.
flies, one person shoots. The only thing is there was no analog stick at the time, so you have to use a D-pad to fly. It's a little weird now.
Hmm.
But at the time, we didn't have an analog, so no one knew, you know?
Hmm.
Right. And then, what else? Final Fantasy Tactics and Final Fantasy 7 were a game changer for me. Tactics was the bigger one, but 7 was like, I don't know, man. ROMs are dead. CDs take too long. But 7, I couldn't fight it. You know what I mean? Like I would play and go, you can't deny that this is a pretty great cinematic experience, and you know the RPG is fun. And it's not the best RPG story I've ever had, but it is a cool universe. I enjoy this. But Tactics was the one that I was like, I fucking must own. I bought Tactics. I was at Software Etc. the day it came out, just waiting for the fucking thing to open for Final Fantasy Tactics. You know, I bought 2 copies because I just wanted to own a second one. Eventually gave it to my buddy Rich. That's what I loved, the idea of little 2D sprites with 3D chessboard backgrounds so much that one day I hope, Brent, if we ever really make a game, like I can get your wife to really learn programming, you know,
Hmm.
like 5, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, if we ever do it, it'll be just to make one like that, just like that. I mean, I know like I backed Arcade and Atlas, but they're doing like a 2D game because of it's just a lot of resources, you know. But at some point, it won't be. You know, at some point, the tool sets will come down to the point where it can be done, and that's what I want to do. I just love those little chests, but the music I love so much. And then what was another game changing game? Resident Evil 2 was a game changer. Can't admit it. I mean, the first one has its moments, obviously the first opening parts, but 2 was tour de force. Um, Soul Calibur on the Dreamcast was an amazing launch title. And then for me, it didn't hit again until Grand Theft Auto 3. My buddy Paul came over with it. I played it for 3 minutes. 3 minutes. I remember. I looked at the clock. It was 4. I stopped. Looked back at the clock. It was 4:03. I'm going to Best Buy, and I bought a PlayStation 2. I had the game there. I stopped. I wanted to play my own game. I was like, I don't want to continue this any further on your saves. Like I'm going to go down. I bought it right then and there. And those experiences become less and less, right?
Hmm.
I played Mario Kart 8 on my Switch last night. Finally, I finally had time to put that on. And I gotta be honest, man, booting up Mario Kart on a handheld and it looking like a AAA fucking awesome game is such a wonderful experience, Brandon. It's so good looking. It's just like it's so good, bro. It's playing Mario Kart 8 in my bed, dude, on a giant fucking screen. The controls were great. It's so good. That's the only way I beat any game on the Wii U because I could drag it across. But that the room with the tether play, unfortunately, and a house, it's too far. But with the Switch, not a problem anymore. Did I ever get into D&D? I couldn't get into D&D, but what I did do was I played a lot of Star Wars role playing, the West End games. And then every now and then we would take the same D system and make like a Final Fantasy style game out of it. And I would just basically write all the campaigns and let my friend Rich deal with the stats. But I didn't have to worry about all that shit. Kind of like what Brandon's doing right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I take care of the creative end and you take care of that shit.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, I ordered the cutouts.
Oh, nice.
That's done. The cutouts are on their way for Con. Game Informer and Sonic prints are on their way. And I got a 20 by 30 Game Informer poster. I'm going to have 20 of them available. And they're on super art shit. I have to ship them flat. So they're going to be like 35, 40 bucks. I have to work out the price. I can only do it within the US, but I'll have at least those. So for someone who wants a giant poster, I don't make any money off them. Like they're costing me a grip to get done, but I figured why not, you know?
Mm-hmm. Never see. Where's Copic Strider 1?
Oh yeah, the Star Wars West End games. I lived and breathed that shit. I didn't really even know they existed until I went to Disneyland for our 8th grade. We had an 8th grade Disneyland thing where, you know, the 8th graders just drop you off, you know? And I somehow managed to convince my stepmother to let me go. My father was against it. He didn't like me spending any money. It was 20 bucks. My father was like, we can't afford it. She's like, you fucking make like 80 grand a year. What are you talking? Like my father just didn't like spending money on me, you know? And I can't blame him, right? Like I was low maintenance, so why spend more money than the kid? You know, if he's not gonna put up a big stink about it.
Right.
But when I went, she gave me 20 bucks to spend. So I managed to. At the time, you could go to the sandwich shop and get a $5 sandwich and a drink, which you can't do now, but you could at the time.
No.
And then the book, they had a Star Wars role playing, the dungeon, whatever, basically a Dungeon Master's book. The rule book was like 15 bucks. So I spent money on that. And then my buddies covered me on like sodas and shit because I bought the rule book so we could play that when we get back, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So Rich was there. He covered me the rest of the way since I bought that. Is there a place I can go buy some? ShopSketchCraft.com. I don't have anything up in there now. I put stuff up, and then when they sell out, that's it. But I'm going to have stuff up this week and next week. So this week, some stuff's going to go up in there. And next week, some stuff will go up in there. And then it comes in and out. Because I do all my own shipping and everything. And then once or twice a year, I'll do a Kickstarter for like prints and stuff. Or I want to do an art book sometime in the next year. I don't know when. When I'm done with Game Cave. But I don't keep a permanent... Like, I have the store, shopsketchcraft.com, but I don't keep it, like, stocked up with 3,000 prints, get the fuck... You know, I hate that shit, dude. I was thinking about it the other day. Like, you know, you go to the stores and it's like, everyone's like, 3 for 23. Everyone's like, you know, they got all these deals on Etsy, but I'm like, it reminds me of going to the mall, and every store now is just for sale, for sale, for sale. You know what I mean? Like, put limited stuff up. Like, I'd rather just do a Kickstarter. I mean, that's what this was for. This was for a Kickstarter I did last summer. So it's taking me a little bit longer because I had to move and a bunch of other shit. And obviously look at the fucking detail. I don't know if you noticed, Brandon, but my prints before weren't always as, it was like one character. Starbucks. A Link. Not
I
odes
never
to the
noticed that.
not odes to the entire franchise.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that or not.
Nope. Is that like a new thing?
Yeah. It's very new. So I'll have Game Informer prints. I got some Final Fantasy VII stock left over. I got Rick and Morty's. I got some of the Batman stuff. And then next Friday, the Sonic stuff will be here, and the Game Informer stuff will be here next Friday. Yeah, sometimes those sites hit me up, but there's no money in it for me, so all the money's in it for them. So I just don't see the point. If I'm only gonna make like $1 or two on the print, I'd rather not also kick out 30% of it to some others. They keep telling me, "We'll get you exposure." I'm like, I don't really think that's gonna help me much, you know.
Right.
Especially when you're grouped in with 50 other artists. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're all seeing me more, but there's 50 other people to get through, so I just do my own stuff, you know.
Right.
Hard surface rendering is still hard surface rendering. I gotta say that for last. It's still the thing I'm not fully sold on. It takes me a little while. Mm-hmm. All right, so I have to figure out. I see. Nope, that did not work. Oh, they sell the expensive stuff. They tend not to do. I haven't looked at them, but those sites like Mondo, they tend not to put up stuff like what I do. They tend to put up like those Illustrator style posters, you know, look all realistic. I don't know. I don't know, man. One of those guys was trying to get me hooked up with those dudes. The guy I used to work with, Mark Kowinski. I don't know. He's a big time graphic designer, dude. He's hooked up with those movie poster dudes. He's like, you'd be a great fit, and they just didn't seem very interested. So I don't know, man. It's not like I have a say in it, you know. I'm always up for opportunities, but who knows? Maybe they'll be like, we saw you on Game Informer. Not likely, but you never know. But I definitely don't fit in with the Illustrator poster crowd. So I make cartoons, I'm told. This is very cartoony. Like, right. Okay. Well, there you go. There you go.
I wish you would just grow up with your art, Rob.
I know. Well, you could see it's stopping me. You can see how
Hmm.
like I'm so motivated to go and become the next art germ, you know? Yeah, I just don't work in the industry anymore. That's how I got out of it. You know, my father and my mother died within a year of one another, and I'm gonna say this a million times. It just really changed my priorities. You know, fuck it, I'm not good enough. Internet likes me. It's good enough for me. Internet's gonna make it longer than this industry. Something tells me. You know, every studio I ever worked for is pretty much out of business. So, you know, the internet's still going. So yeah. And here we are. Brandon, what video are you on now?
I'm on 398.
30 videos. You made some progress. It's going to take you through the weekend, huh?
I'm just gonna say yes, so I don't fuck up.
No, everyone doesn't want realistic. Look at how that Chinese Wonder Woman poster took over the internet. The problem is, in this country, we equate cartoons with not applying yourself artistically. Unlike in other countries, you know?
Right.
We equate cartoons with just simple little drawings, not like complex cartoon drawings. Like it's harder. All I had to do, man, is take some photographs of a bunch of people, trace over them, and then be done. So, you know, but I stopped caring, man. I spent 10 years working on licensed merchandise. Not doing it anymore. I'm free. I'm free because I paid off my student loans. I don't feel I have any obligation.
Nice.
I don't have any obligation. Don't you like to say, Brandon, doesn't it sound good to be able to say that? One day, you're going to be able to say it. You want me to tell you, dude? You're going to be like, I can't believe it actually happened.
All right.
You don't seem that confident.
Yeah.
I don't care what the industry wants. Industry. I'm not blaming Zach. It's just we've all talked like we all use that term, right, to explain this
Hmm.
monolith. You know what the industry is? It's the thing that wants the thing that already sold. That's all it is. So long as you do something that's already selling, then the industry will want it. Sticking it to the man. Damn the man, Lucas.
Oh, if you
It's Rex
call
Manning
me
Day.
tomorrow.
Hmm?
Oh,
Well,
I
not
was gonna say if you
today.
call me tomorrow and I don't answer, I'm working tomorrow again. Me and Jessica. So
Putting in the hours.
just trying to catch up on bills so then we could eventually, after Vegas, save up for that computer. That's the plan. So we're both just working Saturdays
A
early
fellow
and
chucker, eh?
what?
A fellow chucker.
I'm so lost.
I know.
So yes, I'm putting in the hours and it just sucks because it's like it's Friday night and I'd like to stay up and work, or at least work and get this done. But then I have to get up and work again. Being an adult sucks.
You're so busy, I've had to do the sketch card thing for you.
Let me give you my most enthusiastic laugh, right?
What are you, Penguin from the Batman show, dude?
You know, it was like in my mind, I was going for like a mix of the 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 old lady in Monsters Inc. who's like a top agent chick, where she's like always watching that chick, you know.
The golden red.
Yeah. Mike Wazowski. And I guess the Penguin, or maybe the newest Joker, like,
It's the Penguin.
Am
I I'm using a Cintiq. Using a Cintiq. Although the color a Wacom's just fine. You don't need a Cintiq. But if you're gonna draw, good luck with the fucking Wacom. Mike Wazowski. Mike Wazowski. Mike Wazowski.
Jesus.
How am I making it? It's a layer effect. See? It's just a layer. Create the outer glow. Set it to a color. Then anything I draw in there creates a glow. And you get two kinds of glows. If I manually draw one, you get something. Sorry, I'll use a hard brush. You get something like this. Or if I create a selection and I airbrush inside, you get something like that.
You know, you're like, you're making progress. And then I look thinking, yeah, I'm on 400. And then it's like, you have 94 more to go. And that's not including all the ones that you probably fucked up and I got to go back and relook at.
Yeah. As I told you, you're like, I'll get it done tonight. I'm like, no, you won't.
I didn't say that. I said 2 nights. And then
Last night you said you were going to get it done tonight.
Yeah, because you said there was like.
So yes,
400.
yes, you did say that, correct?
No.
You just said yes.
I said I'd get it done Friday night, yesterday night. But that was under the
Plus, I think
assumption
you're
there was
putting to
400.
linear and soft light. This doesn't matter. See, normal, it's irrelevant. It's just for some reason the fucking layer effects were always set that way. So sometimes the outer glow is set to a hard, sometimes it's set to a normal. It depends on how much saturation I want. And it changes per color. So I believe I have an art tips video on how I make glows. Think I did that once? I think I did that once. If not, then we'll do a more in-depth video at some point. Write that one down, Brandon.
I think you have one, but I'd have to look.
Yeah, the layer effect on the glow within the property is really just depend on how you want the color to blend. That's basically it. And that's pretty much subjective. You know? Yeah, no, it's okay. I just can't remember. The problem is like, we have, 1,000 videos now? So, I'm not like, I have it in there, you should know. Like, no, I don't even know if I made one. That's what I'm trying to say. So, if I haven't made one, I should probably make another one in a while. Or if I have made one, I may not have covered the layer effects thing, so it's a good thing to write down. And all I'm doing now is erasing the edge with a soft airbrush to try to erase a little bit of that hard edge. And it leaves a little bit of the residual glow over with the way. So you can create a little softer glow that way. So it's not all super hard edgy. You don't want to rely on the glows. You want to use them to kind of just pump up. So that's why I work on all the balance lights first, and then I use the glows to create that accent light. Yeah, they're there. You just a lot of people, you know, don't tend to use them, or they do. They look a little cheap. This is why I make a color. See my color, Ruffy? This is why I make this before I start. So all I'm really doing is looking at this. These are all reference for drawing the characters. But at this point, the only thing I'm looking at is this right here to make sure I hit it as close as I can. Within Realm, it's still too dark. Like this right here would print black if I made the characters that contrasted. So I have to be careful about that. I've done that. Like it looks cool digitally, but then you print it and it's just a pile of fucking just super dark. And you're like, no. Yeah, the selection tools. Lasso tool, airbrush. Lasso tool, airbrush. Lasso tool, airbrush. And then a little bit of black at the end just to try to pump out some contrast. Push and pull shapes. Basically it. Yeah, but I'm previewing CMYK, so this is how it's going to print. And see, there's not a big difference. This is RGB. This is CMYK. So you see there, that blue, you're going to get some super glow. So all my colors are still within gamut. So there's not a giant contrast. Like here, you're getting this bloom will be obviously bigger in RGB, but I'm previewing in CMYK. And that's set to my color settings. I have that set up, you know, my color settings, which are set to GCR 280. So I used to use UCR, but now I use GCR. So. It's 12 o'clock. Well, folks, I got to get back to my freelance. So this is a good place to leave this. This needs to get done. Like I should have been done already with this, but I've been jumping around and preparing for con a month out. But I'd rather get con done now than fucking... I mean, everything's done, Brandon, except for some residual prints, which I'll do this first week or second week of June, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a weight off my shoulders. Preparing for Comic-Con.
Yay!
So, yay,
Everyone in Vegas, come see us.
Also, after Comic-Con, I'm going to start doing some streams in Twitch. So if you're hanging out on Twitch, we'll be doing some of this stuff there as well. I hear now you can take the Twitch stuff and save the videos into YouTube. So I got to work that out. If I fuck with it right now, I won't get anything done. I'll just be fucking with it. So we'll still be doing it here, but we're going to jump back and forth between Twitch and here just so some people like it. Unless I get really fucking annoyed with Twitch, and then I'll stop doing it.
So you'll stop doing it.
Yeah, well, you never know. Because I'm not going to do that drawing for contest shit and people winning prizes, and you know what I mean? It's not a fucking game show. So we'll see if I get super fucking annoyed. Am I going to go to Dallas Con? I only do one Comic Con a year, and it's the Amazing Vegas Con. So no. So if the con sucks, Brandon and I can go play some blackjack or the slots and win our money back. And if not, let's get a free drink. And Brandon doesn't drink, so he just orders for me and I get his drink.
There we go.
That's how it works. That's how it works. So we'll be there next month. And other than that, the only place I do this is I do this here. So no cons. Too expensive. Waste of my time. So.
But you can find us here every day on SketchCraft Live.
Shut up, Brandon. Thanks for hanging out, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Later, Dom. Hey, you just showed up.
Peace, Dom.
The show